here. I'm outside once again in the morning, and I'm gonna go ahead and start out by sowing some seeds, direct sowing, for some row crop that I want to plant. Then I'm gonna go ahead and plant some other ones I have over there in a pot. I'm gonna go over to my potted plants over there and direct sow a few. And then I'm gonna go back to my irrigation over here and prop some up with the spikes. And then I gotta go over to my watermelon beds and my vine beds and go ahead and situate the irrigation there, since I'm doing it differently this year. However, I direct sowed some plants just the other day in the ground cover, and they're sprouting, and they're finding light, and they're finding their way out. So let's take a look at those. Okay, so right over here is a sprout coming out. That's why I planted them in line. And it looks to me like here's another one. It's finding its own way out. And let's take a walk down there and I'll show you some more. So over here it's looking like some Kajari melon are finding their own way out. On this side, and also on this side, they're seeing the light and they're coming right up to where the light is. So I think that's amazing that when they see light, they just kind of do their own thing and sprout up in the slits that I cut. I like that, but I do check them, and if they're not going to make their way up, I will move it over a little bit. But hey, I think that's great. Okay, so right over here, we got some melons doing the same thing. Got one right there doing it. Okay, so I can see one just starting out under there. I can see some right here coming out. And right over here, I can see some starting. And all of my blue lakes are making their way out. Even though I got them folded over, I could go ahead and fold it back. I just want to see that they come out. So since they started, what I'll do is I'll just take this like this and fold it back and fold that back. That's how it's intended to be. And the same thing over here. I'll fold this one back. This one has not come up yet. Same thing over here. So I can fold this one back. And this one did not come out yet. Okay, so I actually thought once I seen them come up, I would have to like maneuver it a little bit, put a little stake in there and push it out of the way, but they're finding the light. And also, I think that the ground cover acts as a little cover, like if you were to sow them in your house, so they're a little bit more humid until they come up, except you don't have to lift the cover because they come out. So I'm kind of liking that so far. So let's go over there to my potted plants. Some of them I direct sowed. Let's see what they look like. Okay, so some of my direct sowed butter stick squash, which I love, are coming out, and some of them are just now peeking ground. Well, I see this one peeking ground, none over there yet. Okay, so these were the first tomato plants that I planted. And as you recall, I deep rooted them and they were just barely sticking out of the ground. But they're all looking really healthy. And it looks like they like their new home over here. And the majority of the plants that I planted in the beginning are doing great. And some of the ones that I just planted, they're starting to look a little better. And give them a week or two, and we're going to see a noticeable difference. And in a couple weeks, they're going to be up to the trellises. And in a few more weeks, they're going to be up and over the trellises, and I'll be pruning and doing everything else. So that leads me to over here. So let me go ahead and prep the soil and start planting. Okay, so being that I'm the Frugal Hugel gardener, I like to look for inexpensive ways that I could do things with that I just have laying around. So, to hold this bed open, I could use this. That's a piece of bamboo. That would spread it. Or I could come in here with two of my irrigation spikes and hold it open, or even one like that. Okay, so I'm going to open it up real good. This is actually the center right here, so I'm going to open it, and using my real small auger, I'm just going to go ahead and okay, so what I did was I just went ahead and fluffed up the soil. Okay, so using a small auger, I went down and just fluffed up the soil a little bit, because I just went ahead and I was walking on this and stuff. So this bed right here, I'm going to plant a collard over here, and then some row crop. And I'm going to go all the way on up with row crop there, here, and over there. I'm going to direct seed. Okay, so I like to keep my seed pouches dry. So I'll put them on a bin instead of laying them down. It's first thing in the morning and everything's wet. So I have some Vats collards already growing. But I wanted a Georgia collard, and I'm going to put it right over here. Okay, now the rest of these over here. I'm going to do some breakfast radishes. And all I'm going to do with that is I'm going to put a little mark in the ground like this. Okay, that's just to fluff it up a little bit. Okay, I don't need a lot, so that's enough for that. So I don't want to forget what I plant, so let's go ahead and mark it. Okay, so I'm gonna know that these are radishes right here, and I'm gonna know that that's a, what was it? It was a Georgia. Right here is a Georgia collard. So basically for me, about 3 or 4 Georgia collard plants or Vats collard plants is plenty. They just keep growing and growing and growing, way more than I could eat, so I give a lot away. Okay, so now that this is sowed, I'm just gonna remove this, put this back down. It looks like it's spread open enough. For it to start growing. I'll just leave one of those in there like that. That looks fine. And it's even mounded up now. Okay, right over here, since my tomato plants are there and over here, this is gonna be shaded. I wanna put Oregon Sugar Pods 2. I love these. Now, Sugar Pods are flat and you can see the seeds. Sugar Snap Pods are sort of rounder. They taste totally different. These are like butter. So let me go ahead and start. I'm gonna do them all the same way and I'll get back to you. Okay, so what I'm doing with my ground covers, I'm just taking these right here and I'm going like this and it's holding it up. And it holds it up perfect, and then I can come in here with my auger. And that's my small auger. Then I just go ahead and run my hand over it and pull these out. All the soil is contained in there. Okay, so now I can select the plant. And start planting. So I'm going to plant some carrots right here. Okay, so I'm just going to put a little line right down here like this. And I'm going to drop in some seeds. and just come back and stir them up a little bit. Take this out, give it a little tap. Okay. Oh. Now I'm gonna mark them. Okay, right to there. And these were free seeds, actually. So I'm going to do some purple tops over here. It's always good to have a couple. Okay, so anyway, you get the idea. That's how I go ahead and plant. I go ahead and fold open and hold open the ground cover. I go ahead and use the auger, soften it up a little bit, pat it back down, put a little line, sprinkle my seeds. That's how I'm doing it. Okay, so I got all my row crop over there planted and all my row crop over here planted. I sowed seeds. Now what I need to do is come over here and put my drip lines, my soaker lines for this side, like I did that side. So let me get going. Okay, so I went ahead and got some soaker hose that I had rolled up. They were scraps that I got from there. Laid them out and cut them. So I got 1, 2, 3 rows of row crop in between my tomato plants. So they should get good shade. Plus I'm going to have shade cloth up on the top. Same thing with these. They're getting shade. I'll have shade cloth on the top. No trellis there. They'll get morning sun. But I sowed all that. So things are looking good. So what I need to do now is I created a way where, since I don't have enough of these right here to connect all of my drip irrigation to, I have plenty of these. These are sprinkler heads. They give off too much water. I don't use them anymore. So I'm just going to drill a hole right there and put a zip tie in it. And they should hold it nicely. These are good, sturdy, strong spikes. And that's being creative. It's all about being frugal. I have a bunch of these. I might as well use them instead of letting them lay around. So let me go get my drill and drill bit. Okay, so like I said, I don't have many more of these, but I have a bunch of those. These, the 1/4 inch just clip in, and these are sprinkler heads, but I don't use them anymore. They give off too much water. So I experimented with one over here and one over here on how to connect it. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to take my drill bit and I'm going to drill right here. Let's see if you can see. I'm going to drill right here like that. I'm going to take a small zip tie. I'm just going to put it through the hole. Just get it so it's like that. And if you can see here, this is what it looks like. There you go. That's it right there. I just connected it. So I can put that in the ground. This holds the head up. I was using those, but I'm out of them. So I have bunches of these. So I'm going to go ahead and do a bunch just like that. So anyway, it's all about using what you have available to you. I got scraps. Instead of letting them sit there, I'm putting them to good use. So let me get to work. Okay, moving right along. I went ahead and finished all my drip irrigation spikes all the way down and back. So I'm really happy on the way it came out. So I was able to go ahead and put the spikes in on everything up and down. so everything's held into place. That way your drips heads don't move. They're suspended above the ground, so they're not going to get clogged. You could walk around and see the drip happening. I went ahead and got my row crop planted and the drip lines going. Went ahead and added these to the tomatoes over here. I got the soaker drips installed, and I got all of my spikes in, so everything's holding everything up off the ground real nice and neat. So all I gotta do is walk when the irrigation's on and I can see everything dripping, and there's not going to be any dirt getting on in there. Plus I got my bee waterer going over here. This just goes in here like that. This drips, fills it up with water. The bees land down here and drink and they won't drown. Okay, so I'm happy. So I just have a few more things out there to do. My watermelon irrigation, I'll leave that for tomorrow. And then I got to go ahead and get to all these planters over here. But all in all, everything's going good. My tomatoes from when I planted them. Look at that dove over there, just having fun in my garden. My tomatoes, since I planted them, they're all looking good. Hey dove, what are you doing? I hope you're not going to be pecking. Are you going to be pecking at my stuff, huh? I don't mind you being in here, just don't go after my plants, okay? Don't be pecking at my plants or seeds. Boy, you're just happy as can be, aren't you? Lots of birds, lots of wildlife. So anyway, I got my gorilla cart over here, got all my stuff in it. Even though it feels good out, time for me to go eat and reevaluate what I gotta do next. Until next time.